Yeah. So I'm on live now, and I'm going to.
Till we need the music.
Okay.
Okay, 7 o'clock.
Okay. No one's on yet. So now I see myself. Okay, so I'm saying myself. So do I share this?
Did y'all say happy birthday to Nana?
Hmm?
Y'all say happy birthday to Nana?
I talked to her.
Ah,
Okay, so I can see myself. So that means, and it still lags, but it's okay. Okay. Hi there, Mom. And hey, Pam. PD. What's up, girl? Mama and Daddy. Hey, hey, hey. Gonna get started. I kind of wait just a few minutes to get a few people on. This is gonna be so good, and I'm so happy. Hey, sis. My other Pam. Yeah, I got my 2 Pams. My 2 Pams, my 2 babies. Yes, yes, yes. Y'all, I'm making progress with this technology stuff. And then my niece over there laughing at me. Talking about, hey, sister. Yes, yes. So I hope everyone has been having a great week. And I'm looking forward to sharing this story this evening and a couple of other things. And see if I can get maybe 2 more to jump on. There's a few that were saying, I'll be there, I'll be there. Well, we know how that goes, right? Time gets away. Be ready for something to start in 5 minutes, and then we forget that quick. But I'm happy to know that I do load this up on Facebook Live. Hey, Michael Gardner. That's my baby daddy, y'all. Glad to see you. Coach Kaya. Let's see. Ah, I see. Okay, so let's say 1, 2. Well, it ain't showing me the right number up top. Okay. Hey, y'all. Hey, Melly Mel. Good to see you too, baby. Welcome, welcome. Hubby on the line is my king. Hey, baby. Glad to see you too. And you know what? I tend to forget that it may be 5 cameras. Hey, Rhonda Green, guys, that is my buddy that I bonded with in California. And she is one of my workout partners for our Uplift and Ignite speaker venture. She's got a book too and other stuff. Takes a village to even do the things that we are doing. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my music, and then we're going to go from there. If you all can hear that, give me a thumbs up. Someone saying, how do I turn the volume on? So y'all can't hear me, or just Mike can't hear me? Let me make sure. Okay, I'm up over here. Mike said, call me and help. Okay. Hold on, bud. It must. Can everybody else hear me? Trying to make sure it's not on my end. Okay. Jamel said he can hear me. Cool. Rich, you want to call Mike? He said he needs some help. He can't. Oh, I got your phone. Okay. All right. Now you can have your phone back. All right. Look. Hey, Pam. Where Gardner Pam? Girl, you know your husband can't have, it's not getting on no sound. So I'm trying to kind of hold on. Okay, Rhonda says she can hear both. Thank you, Rhonda. Yeah, call Mike. Well, bud, if you don't get, hey, it's Cena Boo Boo. That's my other baby. I'm so glad y'all on here. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm excitedly going to get started. So welcome, welcome, all my beautiful souls and my family, my friends. I love you. Thank you so much for joining. And you got to turn your, okay. Okay. So like I said, all of this is organic, family. So this is a learning process, because once we go big, we're going to be looking back on here, and I'm going to be pulling up all my supporters that have been with me from the beginning. Oh, Pam said he's driving to Atlanta, and she's in Florida. Y'all know Pam, God, that's my baby's other mama. That's Britt's other mama. I thought I'd be on the go. This lady needs to sock down somewhere, okay? I ain't never seen such. She's amazing. I don't understand how she does it. I really don't. But both of you all have safe travels in your traveling, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Yes, definitely. All right, family. So let's talk about our little Brit. The majority of you that have joined know our Brit. So Brittany was born December the 13th, 1988. And born in 1988. And she was born in Maryland. So I have to give you a little background about that venture, because from the very beginning, my baby has been special, okay? So when I became pregnant with Britt, Mike and I were military, and we were at, I forgot. Andrews Air Force Base. And for 4 months of my pregnancy, the hospital on base was telling me that I was having false pregnancy. You heard me. False pregnancy. So they were telling me that false pregnancy consisted of me feeling pregnant, feeling movement in my stomach even growing, and all of these things, having all the signs, but I was not pregnant. I had gallstones. Yeah, that's what they told me. I said, I've never heard of that. And I know I'm cray-cray, okay? But I ain't that cray-cray. So they gave me some medication that's supposed to pass the gallstones. So I took the little prescription, went on home. I said, you know, these folk crazy. Micah had to tell me, or Pam could tell me, they had a nickname for that hospital. And I can't think of it. But long story short, you know I ain't have my baby there, right? We drove to Bethesda, Maryland, which was like 45 minutes or an hour away for the duration of the rest of my pregnancy, her birth, and all of that. So once I went to, second part, they did my blood work at that particular hospital. And do y'all know my arm was bruised for maybe 2 weeks? Yeah, Murder Grove. There we go. Thank you, Pam. And I forget what's the regular name, but they changed it. We changed it to Murder Grove. Because they was doing some stuff up in there. And they were abusing my arm. I mean, I got some lady just wiggling it with us. What in the world is happening? So, long story short, they messed that test up and told me to come back. I said, y'all done lost your mind. I'm gonna go somewhere else, get my blood work drawn. Yeah, Malcolm Grove. That was the name of it. And they changed it to Murder Grove. Yeah. Hey, Auntie Sheila. Welcome, welcome. So glad you joined. And so, so we did that process, right? And throughout my care, I went to Bethesda, to the Naval Hospital. Woo, we're talking some years ago. I'm starting to feel my age because my mind is like, okay, that was, Bethesda, Maryland. And I can't remember the name of the hospital. But anywho, it was Bethesda Hospital. It was Bethesda, Maryland. And my baby, we went full term. And it got to the point where we drove back and forth. My mom came a week or two before my daughter was born. She wanted to be there and help me with her. So I went on a cleaning spree. Y'all, I don't know what got into me. I cleaned that whole apartment from the top to the bottom, and I was like days from delivering. It was crazy. My mom was like, yeah, she coming soon. And the house was clean. So the trips to the hospital. So I started having some pains and Annapolis, Maryland. Thank you. See that, y'all, that's my other baby right there. And so you all can see the chat too. She got my back even while she on the road. That part, okay. So we are going back and forth. I go to the hospital. I've only dilated just a little bit. So we decided to go walk in the mall. Now, mind you, I told you it's like 45 minutes to an hour one way. So we go to the mall. We walk in. I'm walking. I'm like, okay, she's going to be coming. She's going to be coming. And then I get these pains, and I'm thinking, okay, she's coming this time. We went back to the hospital. And all of this is within the same day or two. We go back again, and I had only dilated 1 more centimeter. And Mike said, okay, look here. I'm not going to keep driving. Driving 45 minutes one way to bring you back and take you home and bring you back. Plus, I was tired of the driving too. So the doctor decided that I could have something to help to induce my labor by giving me something to ease the pain so that when I felt it, the next time I felt it, it would really be time for me to come because I would be so out of it, kind of that it wouldn't be a mistake. Lord have mercy. Y'all, I almost gave birth to my child in the bathroom. When I tell you, I was so knocked out and so helpless. I'm laying in the bedroom in the back. My mom and Mike, they sitting up front. They watching TV, they chilling, they thinking I'm back there sound asleep. I'm trying to call them to let them know I need some help. I'm all on the bed like, Mom, I had no strength. I was so jacked up, drunk, high, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't control my body. I ended up making it rolling onto the floor. Yeah, this is so crazy. Rolling onto the floor, and my mom, she finally sees my hand because I'm waving my hand, and she sees me, and they both come running. I'm like, I gotta use the bathroom. I gotta use the bathroom. My mama busy saying, no, you can't use the bathroom. You don't have to use the bathroom. You in language. I said, no, I got to pee. And she kept saying, no, that's not what it is. I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. So I did actually go to the restroom for a little bit. I did do that. And we made it on to the, hey, Dino Brown. We made it on to the hospital. And I'm in the car just sleep. My water broke. And I'm standing in the bathroom at this time when the water breaks. And I'm like, ooh, but I did have to pee though. I did pee for real. I did that in the toilet. But then when I got up and we went to move and the water said, psh, like, oh, it's time to go. So I'm not really in pain, right? Because I'm all medicated. We get to the hospital and they put me on this stretcher on the table and they check me. And they were like, we got to take you straight into the delivery room because she is about to come out. And it was so funny. So Mike want to be all brave. You know, Daddy want to see his little girl be born and all that. He want to be by my side and hold my hand. And we get to the delivery room. I give the first push and he saw blood. And he almost fainted. Yes, I'm putting you out there, man, because you aren't the only one that has done that. They had to go tend to him. I'm laying in there, still kind of out of it. And I'm looking over there, and the doctors are trying to get him okay. Get him a fan, help him do some stuff. Hey, V, welcome. Thanks for joining. And they said he'll be okay. So he stayed out. Next thing you know, my blood pressure went sky high. Like something they had never seen before. So it frightened the doctors, the nurses. Things are going off and I'm still kind of out of it. I'm kind of guilty, like, what is wrong with y'all? What are y'all doing? You know, and they had to give me a big dose of antibiotics to get my blood pressure down so that Britt would be okay. Okay. You'll understand why that's important a little bit later. So she plopped out and my mom said the doctor almost dropped her because she came flying out and the doctor was like wobbling and holding her like this. My mom was looking like, man, you better not drop my grandchild. And the way I had to push, guys, was crazy because I was so medicated. It took all I had to even try to push. I couldn't even hardly hold my head up. I was so gone. And we got past all of that. They kept me an extra day. And my blood pressure went right back down. It was like spike and it was over. And the doctors were like, we don't know what happened. So we're living in Maryland. She was born in December. So, of course, we have snow and all that good stuff. And Mom is there. She's helping with everything. I breastfed my baby. Greedy little something, y'all. That girl greedy. You get it from her daddy's side. And she was just, I couldn't even produce enough, okay? And it was a beautiful experience that I had been having with her. And for about 5 months or so, or it might have been longer, we had a situation where we had to take her to the hospital because she was crying a lot and seemed like she was in pain, and we didn't know what was going on. At that time, they said she had pneumonia. And they actually even put her in like a little oxygen bed. You know, my mom came down. She had the little IV cast on her arm. She was looking so cute. I have to show y'all some of her pictures with that. But she was looking so cute, but it hurt my heart because we could not touch her. We couldn't get in the bed with her. We couldn't open the little tent. And we were like, man, what is happening? So we got past that. Fast forward. We are at the point where Britt is now 12 years old, 11 or 12, and she has her first real sickle cell crisis. We found out that I had the trait, Mike had the trait, and that there was a 25% chance that she would have the full-blown disease with 2 trait carriers. And unfortunately, that's what she was. And we found this out at birth because we did those testings beforehand. And they were kind of letting us know, you know, when things start happening, we'll know. And when we had that first hospital experience, we thought that's what it was, but she actually had a touch of pneumonia. So, 12 years old, she's in pain. She's like, Mama, my joints hurt, my this and this and that. And I'm looking like, well, what's going on? We take her to the emergency room. I tell them she has sickle cell and she's having a crisis. They're asking me, well, what do you give her? What do you have her on? What medicines is she taking? Does she take her medicine regularly? I'm looking at them like, this is the first time this has ever happened. So I don't know what you're talking about. They're like, there's no way your daughter has sickle cell disease and she hasn't had any major crisis or been in the hospital. I said, lady, my child in pain. I'm going to need you to fix that. And we can talk about all this you talking about later. Okay? I told you this is her first one. So we came to the conclusion with explaining her birth to them that because my temperature spiked and they had to give me those antibiotics, I passed them on to her by breastfeeding her, and they felt like that must have been why she didn't have crises like that until she was 12. And mind you, she was going into adolescence too. So it hit her all at one time, the adolescence, the wear off of the antibiotics or whatever the case may be. And then my baby started living a hard life of sickle cell. Now, this girl, stubborn, like her dad. Anything I say that's on that side is from her daddy's side. I get to say that. Very stubborn, wants her way, but very, very loving. She loved to have fun. She loved life. She just wanted to play. She was a big old kid. I called her my Smokey. Mike called her some of everything. I'm trying to remember what Birdie called her. Our babysitter, she had a little name for her too, and I can't remember that. But if you knew Britt, a lot of you on here know her, and you know what she was like. She didn't handle her sickle cell well, and unfortunately, in our opinion, she didn't handle it well. That's what I have also learned, that just because I felt that way doesn't mean that it was that way. However, there were signs that could not be ignored that could, contribute. But anyway, she lived that life, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I had just come home from a much-needed vacation as a caregiver. And I walked in the door, and my grandmother, 90 years old, met me at the door with a letter in her hand saying that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. I dropped my bags, held her, and we rocked for a second. She was devastated. While I'm sitting there rocking with my daughter, my grandmother, I can hear my daughter moaning and groaning in the bedroom. So I go back there to her. I crawl in the bed and I rock with her like we always would. As a mother, seeing your daughter in pain like that is like no other. And you're very helpless. And I wanted the pain to be my pain. And I rocked with her. And I loved holding her too. When she was, and then I think that was also like why she was also my baby, because I would always hold her. She was my baby. And I go downstairs to greet my husband, and he's downstairs depressed because of the difficulty of finding employment. And he had been searching for a good little while, and things were just hard out there. So I make my way to the shower, and that was like my quiet place. I'm used to being there for them all as a caregiver, and I never really want to break down in front of them. So in the shower, I can get in the shower, turn the water on, and while I'm showering, the tears are just flowing. The tears are just flowing. I got a little hum going on because I can cry a little bit without them hearing me, right? So I cry. I'm praying to Jehovah to give me that strength beyond what is normal. Help me to endure. Help me to be what I can for them. I make it out the shower, and laying down about 2 o'clock or so in the morning, we decide to call the hospital for the ambulance to come and pick up Britt. So the hospital visits and living with sickle cell, that's Mike. Okay, bud, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mike? Lord, the nut is on, y'all. The nut is on the phone. I'm not putting you on speaker, boy. So, that routine was this. We would take her when she was having a crisis, and she would check in, and we knew that what she needed was her medication and her fluids. So we would drop her off, let her handle her business. The process that she would go through was a little lengthy, and then she ended up getting a room because they would keep her. And then the next morning, I would call her. No, she would text me the room number that she's in. And the next morning, I would call her to see what she needed me to bring to her. So it was something we were used to doing. And we called the ambulance before and let them go ahead and take her and all that, because it seemed like it was faster to get her in. So this was not something new. We were used to this. So this particular time, the ambulance comes, they take her, and I get the message from the phone, on the phone, as to what room she's in. And I go later on. Now, let me back up. Monday, Wednesday, Friday were grandmother's dialysis days. So we were taking care of her, and I would take her back and forth to dialysis. So this was Tuesday evening going into Wednesday morning. So I'm downstairs. I'm in the bathroom. I'm keeping it real, keeping it raw. I'm sitting there, and I'm looking, and I'm getting ready to call my baby so I can see what she needs. I'm going to drop grandmama off, and I'll go get Poo-Poo. Go see my Smokey. So I call, And the phone is ringing, and someone else answered the phone. And I said, oh, hi, this is Brittany Gardner's mother. I'm calling to speak with her. And the person said, well, there's no Brittany in this room. And I said, oh, okay. I said, maybe she texted me the wrong number. Hey, Rain and Akaya. And I said, maybe she texted me the wrong number. So I called the nurses station, and they're saying that we don't have a Brittany up here on this floor at all. And I said, oh, okay. So let me call the emergency room so I can see what they, where they take her. So I called the emergency room, and I told them, I said, I'm looking for my daughter, Brittany Gardner. She came in about 2 o'clock in the morning, blah, blah, blah. Gave that spiel. And then they said, who is this? I said, y'all know I'm kind of getting testy, right? Because I can't find my baby. I said, this is her mother. She came in with her sickle cell crisis like she's done before. And I'm trying to talk to her so I'll know what she wants me to bring. And they put me on hold. I said, okay. They transfer me to another extension. I hear the phone ring again. I'm like, okay, well, what? Did they transfer me to the room or what? They transferred me, and when the person answered the phone, they said, coroner's office. I looked at the phone. I said, coroner's office? And I'm thinking, now see, I'm not real up to date on all this stuff, but I was like, I think that's where people that's dead go. Like, why they transfer? Okay, they done made another mistake. Somebody don't know how to transfer their calls. That's what I'm thinking. I said, honey, I don't know why they transferred me to you, but I'm looking for my daughter, Brittany Gardner. They said, who is this? Y'all, I started having some bad feelings. I said, this is her mother. Who is this and why am I talking to you? And do you all know that is how I found out that my daughter passed? They said, ma'am, I am so sorry to be the one to tell you this, but Britt passed away through the night, through the wee morning, before morning. And them trying to call me and hanging up versus leaving a message, that's who was calling me instead of Britt. But it didn't go back to them. It went to the room that they had her in. And so the person that told me, they almost started crying because they had done a shift change. So they weren't aware that Brittany's mother, her family, that we did not know she had passed. So it was a catch off guard for everyone. So she passed, and I'm on the toilet trying to figure out what has happened. And I have 10 minutes to get upstairs to take grandmother to dialysis. Of course, my first call was to her dad. And then I went on down the line calling the family quickly, and then I couldn't even cry at the time because my grandmother would know. And mind you, Brittany was her world. You hear me? Everything was about her. It was about me until she was born. Once she was born, it was all about her. So I knew that if I told her that Britt had passed, that she wouldn't go to dialysis. She wasn't going to be able to hold herself up to go. So I held that in. That was the longest drive of my life. Mind you, it's only about 10, 15 minutes most to get her there. And I promise you, it felt like I had gone out of town. And I'm trying to talk with her and, hope not give her any signs of anything. So I finally get her there. On my way home, I'm driving and I feel like I start having an out-of-body experience. Like I'm watching myself. I'm driving home, but I don't feel like I'm driving the car. It's like something is happening and I'm getting here. I got home, put the car in park, and before I could even get out the car, I was sitting there saying, I don't understand what has happened. Okay, my daughter was here 12 hours ago. And they said my baby is gone. And I'm still trying to figure out, how is this possible? I make it in the house. I fall out on the floor, ball up in a knot, and I just boo-hoo, and cried and cried and cried. And then family started coming over. We know how that part begins to happen. Mike was living out of town, he and Pam. They hit the road immediately. And I had to tell grandmother when we picked her up. Do you all know, this woman told me, I kind of already knew because of how I was feeling. When I tell you she was close to that child, she was close. And she felt like something had happened to her. And when she got here, she kind of knew because so many cars were outside and my dad was here. So she knew something was going on. So I took her in the back and we told her. She made this sound like something just left her body. And that was her desire to live. This was Wednesday. And my girlfriend Pam is on here. She took over for me. She called the Gus Thornhill. The person, she had connections to get the ball moving. And then my other baby, Pam, my other baby mama, she got the ball rolling on the program and she took care of all of that. And I was trying to focus on my grandmother, and we had her services that Saturday, and it was a beautiful service. I sang Missing You, and we danced coming up out of there because that's what she loved to do. So we did the electric slide, one of the slides up out of there. And, I told people, I said, now if you don't want to slide, then slide over so we can do what we do. Because we're doing this a whole new way because Britt is no longer in pain. We have the hope of seeing her again. This is when your faith is truly tested too. We can talk the talk, but when we experience these things, the loss of your only child is a pain that has no words as a mother. I'm sure, and it has no words as a father, no words as a grandmother, the aunts, the uncles. It's just, you have no words. But to lose your only child is a experience that unfortunately happens a lot more than what it used to. Ever since we lost Britt, and I watch the news, and you hear all these children that are being killing each other and all that, I think about the moms, because we know the traditional way of things happening is that children bury their parents, not parents burying their children. But it is becoming more common, unfortunately. So your faith and what you believe has to really come through with that. So we had her services. Oh, y'all, the service was great. Let me tell y'all about the outside. So they had the waterfall, the sprinkler, whatever you want to call it. And it was on. It was a beautiful day. It was the kind of weather that Britt just loved. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. It was a little breeze. And then I was standing there by that fountain. That's what it was, a fountain. And that breeze and comfort that I felt from Jehovah God was amazing. I don't even have the words for that moment. But every time I think about that moment, it's like I'm there. And I do feel a comfort when it comes to my baby, our baby. And from that point on, as a family, we would honor her by going to Red Lobster on September the 30th every year, because that was her favorite place. And when we had COVID and all of that, everybody went and got their own little food from the Red Lobsters or wherever they wanted to, and we did it over Zoom. We don't be playing. We got to have it. And we know that it's a beautiful thing. And we don't mourn in the sense of, I guess, what you normally would. And I think it has to do with the fact, too, that she was in pain a lot. And to know that she wasn't in pain anymore, and to think about the fun she could rarely have and what that meant to her, that's what we focused on, you know? And as I continue on and go into another episode, I'll talk more about grandmother, because she, on Britt's day that we lost her, that next the morning of her funeral, my grandmother told me, she said, baby, I ain't gonna be here much longer. The morning of the funeral, I looked at my grandmother and I said, baby, don't say that. I said, what about me? I'm still here. She looked at me like, girl, bye. That was her world. Now, mind you, she had just gone to the doctors and gotten an excellent physical. So she was 90, and her physical, and the doctor told her she was living like she was about 70, 75, as far as her blood work, her physical, with all of that. So because her goal was to get to 100 anyway. That was her goal in life, the minimum. That morning, she told me she wasn't going to be here. 9 months later, grandmother was gone. 9 short months later. So we had the funeral that Saturday. Monday, we were at the hospital working with the doctors about the cancer. And then Tuesday, I was at Toastmasters, and I gave a speech in honor of my daughter entitled No More Pain. And I kept moving. Grandmama with dialysis and going through the cancer. We went through the surgery and all of that. And I'll pick up on that next time. But what I want to say, too, about the loss of a child is that it's still unique to each parent. Unfortunately, we know, because we've seen it, we find it unbelievable. All people don't love their children. Some people don't care if they lost their child. And some people make sure that their child is gone, right? So even though it's a loss of a child, any loss is going to be centered around that relationship. Britt was like my mini me. She had an old school soul. Where I went, she wanted to go. And when she was with her dad and they would take her places, all she wanted to do was play, 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 and play. So she was always this big kid. But parents, don't take your children for granted. Don't think that death can't come knocking at their door. Britt had a appointment the following week that we lost her to start getting some mental help for her health. She wanted to start turning things around and get a better control. So the appointment was already set. She just didn't make it to the appointment. And it just took us all by surprise because we had a long talk. We were ready for this. And we were excited. That was the other thing that, like, when I'm calling, like, baby, what you need, like I always do, and I'm talking to the coroner's office. Y'all, I don't have the words for that. And the pain is always here, but the strength is there too. The hope is there too. My love for children, y'all know how much I love children. Britt used to tell people, don't call her your mama, that's my mama. Because children just love to come to me. It always have. And my husband, Maurice. But it's like, now that's where I put a lot of my energy to love on these kids because they need that. And I need that. But the love and support from your family, words cannot describe. Us leaning on each other. And we're going to talk about that from when the depression started hitting and the rabbit hole that I talked about before. Okay? So I told you this is going to be heart to heart. And I'm going to be addressing different things and how they relate to depression and how they contributed as well to me coming out. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And I want to share as much of me with the world that I can about life, death, and everything in between. Oh, okay. Hold on, y'all. Let me put my glasses on. Okay. Because asked me to watch this. Okay. Okay, let me see more. You said Mike. Where Mike at? I can't get to it. Oh, let me do it on my phone. Mike, I can hang up on my phone now. Okay. Okay, so now let me see. Views, comments. I don't know what Mike's saying.
Don't forget we were playing our day dog trip.
Oh, oh, yes. They were planning They were planning their father and daughter trip as well. Oh, Mike, yes. I forgot all about that. Wow. It was something else. And we're all going to have, the family's going to be on at different times talking about those things. And again, sharing about depression. Because that rabbit hole is real. I know I've been on here for this 45 minutes. Oh, I got 1 minute and 39 seconds left. So I'm learning this technology, guys. I'm looking up here and I got my phone, but I still don't understand why I can't see the comments on my phone or on my thing. But hey, I'll get there. I will get there. I'm so vulnerable and open and transparent about so much in life now because it makes life easier. I love you too, Daddy. Hubby over there giving me some hearts and some love. I wish I could see everybody who's still on. Oh, okay. So thank you so much for coming, Thomasina, Pam, Jamel, Mike, V, Pam, my other Pam, Rhonda. Oh, Brian Winston. Thank you, Pam Johnson, my sister Lorraine, Auntie Sheila, Paulina. Oh, Hayes Roberts. So y'all, Nika Roberts, I worked with her, and she is amazing. She just went through a great ordeal. I'm not going to put that out there without her permission, but she's a woman of strength as well. We all have to hold each other up, and I'm so glad. Yes. Oh, Nika, thank you. I'm so glad you came. Guys, share this with people. All of this will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, Heart to Heart with Lady Love. All episodes are there, so they can look at it from the beginning. Coming in next week, I'm going to talk about, I think I'm going to, I'll be having to think about what I need to do next. And maybe you all can help me. If you feel free to text me, inbox me if there's certain things that even that I've talked about that you want me to elaborate on. But I'm going to soon start having, oh, okay, V, your niece has sickles. Oh, okay. Definitely reach out to me. Does she go to the Sickle Cell Foundation? We'll talk. I didn't know that. Yes, but as a mother, it's hard watching your child with any kind of chronic disease. Any kind. And I'm here to tell you that even though we can lose our children, our child, that is my only child. I have a son by marriage, Jarvis, in which we're looking for him to have some children after he get married. And then we could be some grandparents. But it's just, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I was saying something else before I said that about Jarvis. Okay, you said you're not sure? Okay. But if anybody you know needs to talk, a parent that's lost a child or someone that's so close to them like a child, because like I mentioned, oh, she's 5. Oh, okay. It's hard. But the Sickle Cell Foundation over here, Benjamin E. Mays, does a good job. Tabitha McGee, she's one of my classmates as well. She runs that now, and she has done an excellent job with that on the education, the camps, and other things with that. They even have like the massage center in there now, because their little aches and pains can be so severe that we can't understand it and we can't comprehend it. But as a mother dealing with that kind of thing and that kind of loss, I am here, and I am here to tell you it will get better. If you share this with someone that has lost a child, let them know it will get better. Have them to tune in, because all of my episodes are going to linger or come together with something else. So, I'm starting to do it the 7 to 7. Love you too, Rhonda Green. 7 to 7. On Sunday at 7. So I'm going to do that for now, keeping that consistency, because I had a few people reach out and say, can I get a consistent time, where I was trying to be flexible for others. I'm like, but I do put it on YouTube. So I will keep this going at this time for right now. And next week, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the rabbit hole. Then I'm going to have hubby on, because I want to share with you my life as you all know me, and then the life as my husband knows me and that I have experienced over these years, and share that. Okay, so thank y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna let you go. Know how much I love you on purpose, and I will see you next week. Get a DJ. Look, he ain't even ready, y'all. He ain't even ready. Can I get a DJ? A DJ? And y'all spread the word. Spread the word. Help me to grow. Help me to reach out. Help me with the children. I'm wanting to do workshops for children because they deal with grief in different ways. My next book, Good Grief, will be out soon. And looking forward to all of that. So we got a lot of things coming. Love you too, Melly Mel. Love you too, sis. And these things are going to be growing. And hey, I love y'all for sticking with me, loving on me. And I love you right back. Enjoy the rest of your day on purpose. Hey, hey. I love you too, Nick. Thank you, baby. PD in the house. Love you too, Rain. Hey. Thank y'all so much. Oh, I love the love. Yes. I love it. I love you and my family. Oh, my goodness. I can't tell y'all the words I have for my family. I love my family. Hey, Rosalind. I love you on purpose too, girl. I love Thank you. I love you too, Molly Mall. That's my Molly Mall. Y'all have a great one. I'm out.